All right, let's move on. Let's talk about GameStop. Yeah, so DKI viewers know that I've had mixed thoughts on GameStop. I personally don't see the fundamentals to support the valuation. This is not a company I would want to own. That said, I have also been on record saying Roaring Kitty didn't break the law. I don't think he's done anything wrong. I don't think he's violated any SEC regulations. And he should be free to take whatever position he wants and disclose it. So, I've had mixed thoughts on it. Now, Alex, you've been much more enthusiastic. I believe you're a GameStop shareholder. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right.
Yes.
So moving on to the next thing here, GameStop meeting despised. What's going on there? What were the apes looking for, and why are they not happy?
So going into the meeting, there was a lot of anticipation with regards to what the GameStop board, or specifically Ryan Cohen, might do with the $4 billion in cash they had just raised from the run-up, whether attributed to Roaring Kitty, whatever you think. They did an at-the-money offering, raised $4 billion in cash. And going into the meeting, everyone was very hyped, and the meeting had actually been cancelled. So they had to redo the meeting on a later date. And everyone came out of the meeting very disappointed, because not only did they not state what they were going to do with the $4 billion in cash, there was also a proposal for a DEI where DEI statistics had to be taken from the board every single year. And a lot of the shareholders were very disappointed by this. Now, in hindsight, I think following Ryan Cohen's message, after him saying that it's important that the business goes forward strong and we're not hyping things up, I think everyone understood the $4 billion in cash that may come later, as they've just raised it. And Ryan Cohen mentions that, especially in the recent times, it's important to invest that money prudently and to make sure it beats the cost of capital. The actual proposal for DEI was recommended to be voted against by the GameStop board, as the DEI proposal 4, I believe it was actually brought to the board by, I believe it was a pension fund, actually, which was one of the holders of GameStop. And so they chose to vote against it, and the vote didn't go through. However, the other 3 proposals did go through.
So the vote wasn't even close. I'm looking here, about 144 million against, just under 16 million for. That's not even close. But one of the things I was wondering about, and I think you've just given us a great answer, given the history of efforts like this in the gaming business and how much gamers do not want these kinds of social issues injected into their hobby, I was a little surprised management taking this on. It seemed to be out of step with their shareholder, with their customer base. But you're making a really important point, which was that it wasn't GameStop management that was responsible for this. It was an outside pension fund that was advocating for changes at the company that the shareholders didn't want.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Okay. So to me, the thing that I think is a little bit disturbing is this company raised $4 billion, right? They went into the open market. They sold, what was it? It was 75 million shares. And I think they did that as well the last time Roaring Kitty was out, and his involvement caused the stock to go up a lot. They sold stock then as well. To me, there's something a little, I understand a company wanting to have a strong balance sheet, but $4 billion without any kind of disclosed plan, does that concern you at all? Because if I were a shareholder, and I'm not, that would bother me. Companies selling stock saying, we don't know what we're going to do with this.
Well, I think it's exciting. I don't think it concerns me, to be honest with you. And the reason it doesn't concern me is I have faith in the board, especially Ryan Cohen. The other 3 proposals that were put forward, one was to vote in the board directors again. The second one was to do with compensation. And the former CEO, Matt Furlong, was on a compensation of 16 million a year, and Ryan Cohen's is 0. So he owns, I believe, 36 million shares. So he is fully invested in the company and the company's success, and his reward comes completely from the success of the company. So I'm not worried about his intentions, and I have full faith in him. What I find exciting is that currently, if Ryan Cohen were to just put all that cash into short-term treasuries, that would I think it would almost quadruple their profitability margin just from the interest that they would their year-on-year profitability just from the interest. So the prospect of that is pretty exciting, especially considering where GameStop came from and I think it's 800 stores that they've closed down. The last thing I'll say is the one interesting thing Ryan Cohen did say in his speech, and I am paraphrasing, so I may not get the words exactly correct, but he said that we kind of live in these crazy economic times with fiscal and monetary policy almost out of control, and any investment made must beat inflation. So there's a lot of speculation around maybe adopting a Bitcoin strategy, maybe like MicroStrategy. I don't know, but going forward, I am excited about what could be done with that 4 billion.
All right.
Gary,
Well,
Gary, I had a quick follow-up.
Oh,
Alex,
yeah.
after reading through 5 things here on GameStop and the takeaway, talked about kind of some disappointment or unexpected topics that were discussed, right? Versus talking about the business strategy and what that looks like taking it forward. What were you? I think you kind of maybe hinted on it here, but what were some of the things you were looking for in terms of what their strategy would look like? Or what do forecasts look like in terms of the direction of the company and where they should be going or where they may be taking the business?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure. Yes, as I said, they may be divesting in maybe US Treasuries or maybe Bitcoin as just kind of an investment. But there's also the potential for changing the business model and maybe acquiring another company, which is, again, exciting. But I think that would also say a lot about what the board thinks of where GameStop is now in terms of the business and the fundamentals. So I'm not completely sure, but I think I would be more concerned if we didn't have this large pile of cash on hand.
All right. So, Alex, great job defending your point of view on this. Double credit for actually saying the words, I don't know. I always think that's amazing. Terrific that Ryan Cohen doesn't own a lot of the stock himself. You're right. He is interested in there. The only thing that, I might push back on is my view is closing hundreds of stores, selling millions of shares of stock, and then buying treasuries with it may not lead to the growth that shareholders are hoping for, and that would justify either the current business model or valuation. The good news is we're going to be discussing and debating this for months to come. So, look forward to more GameStop discussion, and, we're always open to different points of views on this. So, Alex, thank you. Great job on this.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And yes, you will be hearing GameStop for the foreseeable.
Not the last. Yeah, Alex, thanks so much. You did a great job. I'm looking forward to working with you here in the future and pulling in more insights from you.
Perfect. Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
All right, Alex, we'll chat later today.
Thanks, Alex.
How impressive is that?
Yeah,
right?
very
Like Andrew and Alex, these guys really do phenomenal work.
It's opening us up to a lot of potential great opportunities that Taylor Swift, GameStop might not necessarily always be on the dartboard for DKI. So bringing in that diversification of viewpoints is great.
I'll tell you what, it's easy to make fun of it, and to joke about the meme stocks and Taylor Swift. But the truth is, the economic work behind it is solid. The thinking behind it is solid.
Right.
And so, we may be discussing slightly more frivolous things, but it's still, it's still really good work.